Yo, what's up guys? Walt Ribeiro here. So I just read all your comments and I'm super excited. So yeah, let's totally do this. Daily music show. I'm super excited and I love you guys. So this piece here, it's called I'm So Glad to Be Back on YouTube. I love you guys. Okay, so let me play this really quick and let's just jump right into it. Okay, so that's what the piece of music sounds like. How did I go from that to that from the little dinky piano part? So here's the piano part that I started off with. Let me actually make this whole note. There we go. All right, so here's what the piano part sounds like. Okay, fair enough. Same exact chords, everything's the same. When you're in a band and you have, let's say, a vocalist or a piano player or guitar player, bass player, whatever, how do you write something and you work on it and you kind of like, not so much orchestrate it, I mean in a sense, but how do you like arrange it? Okay, so I have these piano chords, which is just, it's in the key of F minor, okay, 4 flats, A flat major, F minor. Okay, so I have here, goes from F minor to A flat major, okay, then to B flat major, then back to F minor. Okay, so I'm sorry, B flat minor. So here we have over here. If I were to take these drums away, well, okay, before I get into something crazy, let's say instead of piano, let's say this was supposed to be vocals. Let's take that part off. This was, let's say that was your guitar player or something. And then this was the bass player. How would I arrange this for those 3 instruments? Well, this bottom part, it might sound good as like a heavy bass note, but maybe you don't want that the entire time. Let's say that we want that part to have a little sex to it, right? Like, you know, give it a little pizzazz, you know, something to kind of grab the audience or the listener. So let's take out the octave, all right, and let's keep that bass line there, but maybe we give the guitar player an arpeggio to play up top. So I don't know, let's just give him just the normal, you know, here. So before, what I had is just this kind of whole note. 2, 3, 4, bop. Now I have kind of this arpeggio, which sounds pretty. Oh, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. It sounds like this. Okay, sounds cool. Now I can take this top note. I think the chords, unless you have 3 vocal players and 3 vocalists, it might be best to just obviously just give it 1. So let's say like these. I mean, these can be lyrics. You know, they don't. You know, you can say. What am I doing? Let's say it was like, you know, help me. All right. So now, what I was playing on the piano earlier, that sounded like this. Let me kill the lyrics for a second. So before, what I had is this. I now would have split it up with a band to sound like this. Okay? Help me. Okay? So I know my lyric writing is amazing. I know. Alright, so now with this next chord, it's an A flat major chord. So let's jump on that. Do the same thing. Let's keep the structure the same. So we're just going to kind of move everything up a third because it's an F minor chord, moves up diatonically in the scale. And the second part, the second measure is going to sound just like the second measure on my piano. All right, so now we have this. Okay, sounds like it's starting to come together. So before, what I had is kind of like this very blocky whole note. It was just kind of boring to play and boring to listen to. It sucks for the bass player. They still have that boring note, but at least it's added a little bit of sex to it, where the guitar is kind of making it, kind of cool. So not the guitar is making it cool, but that the notes that the guitar is playing is making it a little bit more embellished. So you also have to think that when you're writing a piece of music, it might sound cool to your ear, or for the composer, but ultimately you got to make it fun too for the performers, because they're going to be sitting there for 2 hours playing the song. So what I do is that when I write music a lot, is I have to consciously take into account, if I were the bass player, or if I were the flute player, or the oboe player, or even the triangle player, or the timpani player, whatever it is the part that I'm playing fun? And if the answer is no, then you have to embellish it a little bit, make it fun for them, maybe make it challenging for them. But it's a push-pull, because if you make it too challenging, sometimes you'll take away the interest of the song. Maybe you hear a simple melody, and you hear a simple bass line, and you don't want to contradict that. So you got to, kind of push-pull a little bit. And sometimes, like, living within those, what do you call it? Like, that living, like, within those blocks of, like, the blocks of creativity. Like, okay, write a piece of music with 3 notes. Like write a piece of music only using three notes, and it can't be more than 47 seconds long. Well, when you start to put restrictions on things, that really pushes your creativity. So, one of the restrictions is you can't make it boring for the performers. So maybe, like, instead of a whole note here, I have the bass player, playing, goes from F up the chord tone to the 5th of C, down to the B flat, then the G, which leads right back into the A to the A flat. So now what we had was kind of just like the blocky piano notes. We now have this. Okay? And of course I'll double that to the A flat. Right. So there's how I come up with some compositional stuff. And going back into here of my original example, I had a full orchestra, right? Here's a full orchestra. Flutes, here's your percussion, or your winds, okay, right here. Your wind section, flute over, clarinet, bassoon. Here's the brass, right here. Then we have the percussionists, and which is like piano, vibraphone, drums. Is kind of like the auxiliary instruments, which includes harp. The definition of a percussion instrument, in the sense of it, is it's something that you play that it's a note you strike that isn't struck with your fingers or your feet, or whatever it is. So the basic thing is like a triangle. You're holding. I don't have anything here. Like a triangle, like you're holding. Like give me something. I don't know. Give me this external hard drive. Let's say like this was your triangle, right? Like you're playing it like that. So this, your finger's not doing the tapping. This is doing the tapping. So that's why it's a percussion instrument. It's the same as a drum, right? Like a drum player, the drumstick's playing the note, not your fingers. And on a piano, you're probably saying like, well, your fingers are playing the note. Actually, on a piano, your fingers are not playing the note. They're playing the note that strikes the inside the chamber of the piano. Your finger plays the note, or your finger plays the key. The key hits a piece of wood, which then strikes the string. Okay? Your finger's not playing the string. On a guitar, your finger plays the string. On a piano, it doesn't. It just plays the note, which creates almost like this like a Roy Goldberg effect, right? Like there's like 3 things that happen before it hits the note type thing. So okay, I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry. So here we have the string section below, and if I were to play those same chords, here I have the same exact chords, my F major chord, but what I did is I arpeggiated it. So in the way that the guitar player was going up, if I were writing for strings, the ranges are a little bit different too. But let's say, like, instead of just the chord of the F major chord just playing out in blocks the whole time, like if I were to play this, if I were a piano player or even a composer playing this, just the full chord, that would be really boring to me. So I tried to add, a little bit of embellishments to it. I have the eighth notes are playing, the F is on the eighth notes for the basses, the low end. Excuse me, the viola is playing the root note F, then the third A flat. Excuse me again. And then here the violin 1, I have them playing kind of like this like melody, but this like arpeggiated melody in a sense to kind of build. It's climbing vertically, it's going higher, so you kind of have this. It's going up. It's come down. It's kind of building you. So the end result is this. And that's what the string section sounds like. And notice how I don't break the pattern. Patterns are a big part, for at least for me, for writing a piece of music. Like if you have a pattern like this, where it's down, like here, I'm going down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up. And then here I have it again, down, down, up, down. Okay, so I kind of keep that pattern the whole time where they're playing the eighth notes, eighth notes, eighth notes. If you wanted to make this kind of sound a little fatter, you can play off the chord tones all you want. This would sound pretty cool. So now we have this. Let me, D would sound fat. So now we have this. Okay, so that's a little, I think, beginner concept for you. I'll go really quick up in here. You're probably saying, well, wait, Walt, take a second. You talk really fast. You work really fast. Slow down for a second. When you're writing for the Woodwinds, what the heck are you doing there? Because they can't play. The thing is that when you're writing for Woodwinds, remember what I said is that you have to think about the player. When you're writing for a bass player, you want the music to be fun for them. When you're writing for Woodwinds, it's the same thing. Not only fun, but you also have to think that a violin player can play a note for 5 minutes long if he or she wanted to. But a woodwind player can't because they have to breathe. So you have to take the instrument off their mouthpiece and you have to let them breathe and get the blood back into their lips and let them just relax for a second every couple measures. So with this, I just have the woodwinds playing like these punctuated chords. Ba, 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 tika, ta, tika, ba, tika, ba, tika, ba, tika, ba, tika, ba, ba, ba. Okay, so they're kind of playing this like punctuation, but they're playing the same chords. The way that I broke that up is that if I were to combine this all, let's like this F here is just doubled, so I'll kill that F. This C, I'll combine it down here. Okay, that C is gone there. And then this C up top here is the same as this one, so I'll just add the octave. That C, that note's that note. C. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, well, F. So here I have the F going up here. All right. So you can see that all I'm playing right here is the chord. Okay, it's just the same chord. If I were to clop it down on the piano, it would just be F, F, A flat, but I'm playing like the left hand. This would, I guess, in a sense, would be the left hand. You would just play root fifth. Well, that's not root. Yeah, so this would be like root fifth root. Or no, that's a fourth. So it would be root fourth root. Okay, it would sound kind of fat, but it'd also be in a bad voicing. But then this top part, you would be playing the F chord up top. So that's basically what I do for the Woodwinds, and for the drums, I just added whatever, just like a dubstep drop. And then when you combine everything with the Woodwinds, I have them holding out the note to kind of create a long, lush sound. You would have this. Now notice how I put that accent when I was singing earlier, so you can okay, so I just had to double check that. You can add like accent hits on the drums. So now we have this. Okay, which I think sounds pretty fat. If you wanted to keep kind of the suspense going, so that it stayed on the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so that's you know, the gist of what I did there. But there's a whole bunch of cool stuff you can do with this. Like you don't have to have these guys playing the chord notes the entire time. You can have them playing off the beat. Like let's say you wanted them, I don't know, you want them playing eighth notes the entire time. Let's kill that. Let's move this down an octave, right? Let's move these guys up. What are we doing here? Let's move these. Oh, I did it last time too. So let's move these guys up. Okay, I'm going to move these down to cello. Okay, so now what I have here, what you have here is failure to communicate. So this is going to sound bad. I just want to make sure that the B flat here, like I have this B flat riding on the C. I think that's going to sound a little weird. So let's get a G natural. I can't. All right. Now the reason why I kept this A flat up here is because I have this A flat here. Okay. So I don't want any rubs. If I gave this a G, you got that kind of like that minor ninth sound. It wouldn't sound, or well, yeah, it would be minor ninth if it flipped anyway. So now we have this. Okay, where it's kind of the same. It's still the same concept, but now I turned the melody into kind of the chords, and I turned like the supporting notes. I turned them into the melody in a sense. Like now I have the melody going like this. Okay, so it's okay, so if I were to combine it, that's what it sounds like. Now, I can keep this all the way through. See, now I'm getting a little crazy with this, though. I won't change these chords throughout the entire 4-bar measure. I won't change those chords, but I will change this part. So let's change this from F to an A flat chord, okay? Then to a B flat minor. Then you have, it's on, let's see. So now we have this. Oh, let me, here you go. Okay, where it's still the same chord, the same thing that I started on piano with 10 minutes ago. I still have that same concept, but I changed some of the things around to maybe add a little bit of tension or release. What I can do is I could have kept my original concept, what I played 3 minutes ago, and then maybe 2 minutes later in the song, on the third chorus, maybe I add this part. Okay, so there's a rule in, I guess, in composition. It's a kind of a smart rule, not a rule, but it's a little tip. Is it's always good to keep changing things up on the third time. The first time you keep it the same, second time you keep it the same. First and second time you keep it the same. Third time, switch it up and change the listener's ear a little bit. Okay, so this is you know, fun for the player. Okay, this part's fun for the player, for the bass player. Okay, and then this part's fun for the viola player or the guitar player, whatever you wanted. And then this top part's fun for the violin player. And then you got these woodwinds singing on the F chord, which is fun. Okay, the brass is playing this lush melody, which I have them picking up later on. And I got the drums crushing on this dubstep beat. Okay, and then it hits that accent. Now, what I can do, last thing I'll do, is let's say like I wanted to keep this concept, but I want to build it up. Not build it up on a long term. I just want to have it drop. So let's keep everything the same. Everything's constant, but I doubled it. I took this part, I doubled it over here. Okay. And I will, instead of like this heavy beat, I'll just have it be like a normal rock and roll beat. Okay, so you would have this. You're gonna have this. 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, so let's go here. All right, so that's good. So now we have this. Let's play it again. And let's double it 3 times. So watch what happens. It's the same thing. Nothing else changed. Nothing else changed except for the drum beat. I'm using the drum here as almost kind of like a melody instrument in a sense, where it's kind of taking you along this path. Everything else stays the same. I'm going to have the drums playing on this like simple rock beat. I'm going to drop out here. The drums stop playing here on the 4th measure. Then you have this 4 beats of silence. Okay, in my head, I think that would be a little bit anticlimactic, trying to go into the next piece. So I have the basses play a fat little melody. Let's say if I went C, D. Okay. Okay. So here, now we have this. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. What you're going to hear is something I just wrote right now in front of you guys with the video on. Just it started off with this simple piano melody, okay, which sounds like this. And now it sounds like this. Okay. Let me play it again. And that's it. I started off very simple. I built it a little bit. If you wanted to, you can even take out the flutes right here. Like I'll take out the flutes. You can even take out the brass if you wanted to. So let's start with like just the strings player. These string players are playing. They build into this drop, which goes into this final part. Actually, let's take this piano part out. That's annoying me. And I'll take out the chimes. Okay. Okay. Gets grimy, gets dirty, and I love it. So that's it. That's the idea of taking something simple, growing it. But listen, that could be anything. It doesn't have to be an orchestra. It could be vocalist, guitar, piano, whatever. But that's the idea of like changing things with the octave, breaking up the chord. Maybe you give a part to the chord to one player, like with this bass part. Like I said, with this bass part, you give like that one part to the bass player, like playing like the long heavy note on the bottom. Up top you play the arpeggio. Maybe you have the vocalist singing, these words up top here, and that's it, Not so much that's it, but I think that's a good idea of kind of where to start. Maybe watch this video a couple times, get used to the idea of like where I'm going with these different ideas, and that's it. If you can't read music, it's cool, but so you can see it visually through osmosis, I think this is good. I think this is a lot better than kind of playing on a guitar for you, which I can play. I got a bunch of them right here, and I have a keyboard right here, but I think this is very good for your music education and to kind of see it as well as feel it, taste it, smell it, play it, learn it, be it, and pass it on. I think that'd be, the end goal. So that's it, guys. This was super fun. I hope to do more, and I'm so glad to be back on YouTube. Love you guys. Peace.